So first thing is first, charts. We need to get our tools set up. Now, people with experience may already be using a charting platform, which could in fact be TradingView. They could be using something else. You could be comfortable with MetaTrader. However, we do not recommend analyzing from MetaTrader. There's another video coming up shortly where I run into more or less why we should be trading on a separate platform as to where we are doing our overall analysis. Now, don't get me wrong, TradingView have now incorporated, I think there's 2 brokers that you can actually connect directly to your charts in order to trade. That's fine, but the point I'm trying to express here is that we want to keep our analytical tools separate from what the broker provides. And when I say what the broker provides, I'm mainly relating myself to MetaTrader, so MetaTrader for platforms. Now, TradingView is a relatively new platform, and it's really taken off over the last 12 to 18 months alone. So this is the homepage of TradingView. Firstly, tradingview.com is the website, and you simply go to join for free in the top right corner. You can sign in, email, make yourself a username and password. The username, by the way, guys, is going to be the name in which you are recognized by, because on here, when you do get some experience and so forth, you can actually start to build a profile, and you can publish ideas, such as these ideas here. You can maybe be working towards being on the top author board, and as you can see, you have all of your friends. You can see how many people who have viewed your content. People can comment on your content, and so on. Now, just as an example, I'm just going to pick any random, let's see, so when did this guy post? 2 days ago. So this dude here called Technician, I believe he's one of the top authors. He's done a USD Swiss franc chart. Now, I'm not sure why that isn't clicking. Yes, it is. Give it a moment. So I've clicked on his chart, and this is what basically appears. And now this is what you can do too. So he's done a chart example. He's got his risk reward tools on there and stuff. And he has, in fact, done a short little bio about the chart, why he thinks, USD Swiss franc is going to fall and so forth. So basically, this is what you guys can do in the future. And once you've actually published a chart, what people can come on here and do, by the way, is click the play button. What the play button is then going to do is it's going to show you the price action from when you posted your chart setup. So as you can see here, his first target was achieved, and it's creeping towards his second one. So you can set this on private as well, by the way, guys. So this could maybe be, you can incorporate this into your journal. So you can do your chart, do your analysis. You can even do all your annotations on the chart as I'm sure you're aware of. As you can see, this dude over here, he has all of his analysis and his bio on his chart as well. So you can do this however you like. One thing I would just put out there is that you don't want to really get too involved with following too many people. And that's going to explain on a video very shortly, that you want to take trading technical analysis, and you want to more or less trust in your own knowledge and skill set and try to be that man on an island. Because the minute you start to, as you can see here, we've got so many different charts. We have various indicators people are using. We have people working on a daily time frame, the hourly time frame. This guy is looking at the 4-hour time frame over here, and so forth. So if we get too involved in everybody's analysis and so on, it can get a little bit messy. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say. Now, anyway, let's cut straight to it. So you've signed up, you've got the confirmation link, and now you're ready to go. So here, Astro Effects, I've just created this one as a demo. This isn't my actual TradingView, by the way. This is just a demo. So first and foremost, we go to chart. We click chart. A chart will, in fact, appear. So blah, blah, blah. You can skip all that, or you can read through. I'm not going to read through it right now. And it's given me a standard chart. So over here, this is the interface for TradingView. I'm going to go ahead and customize all of this, so it can help if you take a pen, pad. If you've done a one-to-one course, your charts should already be set up. However, those guys overseas and those guys who may have to make some modifications on their charting software, this is where I'm going to start. So let me just ensure everything is in here. Let me just minimize this. All right. So firstly, what I'm going to do before, I'm just going to change the actual, I'm going to start here. Right, so this is the watch list that TradingView has set up for you already. I'm going to put on Euro USD there. What I do probably recommend is just going to this tab here and going to clear symbols. And we're going to clear the symbols. So we have Euro USD. So the ones that, the currency pairs that I look at are Euro USD. All right. Now, I'm going to explain this. So firstly, you can see all of these different Euro USDs. Some are binaries and so forth, but the one I recommend, the symbol I recommend, is either FXCM or IDC. Now, FXCM and IDC, they're just the different data feeds that are coming into the back end of TradingView, because I do believe FXCM have sponsorships with TradingView, and they're the guys who are, in fact, providing TradingView with the backend data feed. All right. So, oops. Okay, so I've got Euro USD there. So AUD USD, again, FXCM, click. GBP USD, Euro JPY, USD CAD, and so on. You know, we can add gold in there if you really want to. So it's XAU USD, gold again, FXCM, and so on. You can build your own watch list basically. There's a video later on where I go into what the watch list and why it's important just to maybe focus on a few for the time being. But for now, this is just a demo example of how to set everything up. Once you have your watch list there, you can then click this tab again. You can go to Save List As, okay? Now, with TradingView, you get a 30-day trial. So once you have clicked 30-day free trial, recently it has in fact changed. It does ask you for your billing information straight away. I've done mine. I think I paid for a year. I think it cost me about £160 because I asked for the cryptocurrency feed as well. There's all kinds of different data feeds on here. However, I will say you just need the basic package, which is around $15 a month or so. So with the trial and the billing information, I'm going to leave that up to you guys to solve. But the reason in which that did pop up then is because if you want to save more than 5 currency pairs, you have to more or less pay. Okay, and it is advised, you know, that is your running cost for this software. So anyway, they're the main symbols I'm going to use throughout this course, and they're my favorites. So let's get to the chart. I'm going to keep this up for a moment. Actually, no, I'll fold it down for a minute. Okay, so Euro USD. All right, across the top here, we do in fact have our time frame. So we can click the drop down, and we want to start monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hours, 2 hour, 1 hour. Okay, they're the time frames that we want. Over here, we have the candlestick chart, we have the bar chart, and we have the line chart. We only really want candles and lines, to be honest. We don't really want bars. If you guys want bars and you're comfortable with using bars, again, just put a star there. Next, we have a customizable color scheme interface. So we can right click the chart and we go to properties. Properties here. So I always like my wicks to be dead on black. The borders of my candles are black as well. That color scheme is fine. Some people like their candles to be blue. It's completely up to you, however you want to do it. Have a bit of a play around. Price line here. My preference is always to have it bare minimum. Scale right, that's that style candles. Okay, so next we go to scales. Right, precise labels, we want to ensure this is unchecked. The reason being is because I've noticed recently, once we start to put horizontal lines on and stuff, the label, okay, let me just show you an example. Once we put a horizontal line on the chart, okay, and horizontal lines, I always want those to be black, and I like to have them as thin as possible. But sometimes if the precise label box is checked, when you're doing your analysis, this label here can sometimes offset the actual line. So I found that the this precise labels over here, if that is unchecked, everything remains in synchronization. So keep that unchecked. Everything else is fine on here. Now, background. I prefer my charts to sometimes be gray. Some people like them to be black. You know, you can play around with all of this. This is very, very simple to use, but for the example, I'm going to stick with white. Grid lines, I don't really recommend using grid lines. So your vertical and horizontal grid lines must be the same color as your background. Scale text, I like mine to be blue. Okay, stands out a little. And you can obviously go ahead and play with the different sizes for the actual text on the right-hand side. 12 is fine for me. Scales lines, I like to keep that black. Watermark, now some people like to keep this watermark. I think it's absolutely disgusting. It's a bit of a distraction to me, and if you want to get rid of it, as you can see, you can make it very, very bold, or we can just get rid of it. So click watermark and drag this little toggle all the way to the right hand side to remove the watermark. Crosshair, I like my crosshair black, and it's up to you if you want it to be dashed or you want it to be solid. The crosshair, by the way, guys, is this. So when we're going through the charts and we're lining things up, that's how I like mine. I like to have my crosshair a solid line. Alternatively, you can in fact have your crosshair dashed. It's completely up to you, as you can see there. Now this here, this volume bar at the bottom, I do not need this. So we can just click that and click backspace, or if you're on a Windows computer, you can press delete and we can just get rid of that, or you can right click and then click remove. So what we've done thus far is set up our time frames. We've done our background, as you can see. If I look at the daily time frame on the Euro USD at the moment, everything's looking pretty nice. We have clean charts. And right, so by the way, guys, that line was just obviously as an example. I was going through the precise label option there, but over here we have the bin, remove all drawing tools. And we can click that and everything will be removed from the chart. So if I just go ahead and just draw a few things on here, if I just mess about with some of this, blah, blah, blah. Instead of going individually one by one, if you want to clean your chart, you can just click that. If you accidentally delete everything off your chart, if you come up to here, you can see this, we have undo and go forward. So if you ever make an error on your chart, you can click undo. So if you accidentally press remove all drawing tools, don't fear, because you can in fact go back and then just simply undo that action, and then you can go forward and back and so forth. So that's the undo and the forward buttons there. Next, I am just going to go through the other overlays of the chart. So we don't really use indicators, we don't really use MACD, stochastic, RSI. However, all of these indicators are in fact available on TradingView, and there's so many on here. All we want to set up are the moving averages. So we go to indicators and we can type in moving. Right, one of our moving averages is a exponential, one is a simple. Exponential, we can click there. Moving average, I believe this is the simple, we can click that as well. So what we can then do is, okay, so now there's a little bit of confusion. Okay, which one's the exponential? Which one is the simple? What we can actually do, that's what I sometimes do when I'm setting up somebody's charts, is in fact go to background. No, it's not background, sorry. Yes, it is, sorry. Okay, so we have symbol description. As you can see, top left-hand corner, we can take the symbol description off. Euro USD, it's completely up to you. Now, over here, we have indicator titles. Okay, so this is the one that we want to keep on for a moment. So indicator titles, whoops. Click OK. So EMA and MA. Now, once I click, I've highlighted this, and as you can see there, MA has appeared, so that's the simple. So I then want to right-click that, if I can. It's a bit fiddly, format, So this is the SMA. This is a 21 SMA, and this should be red. As you can see, it's just moved to the width. And now 21, close, offset 0, style, etc. Okay, done. And now I'm left with the exponential, which should be more or less a dark blue, medium blue, and this should be 8. There we go. So that's the moving average setup. Now, if you don't like all of this in the corner, you want to keep it really, really clean, don't go ahead and click the X because it'll actually delete the moving averages. If you go to properties and we go back to background and then simply go remove, uncheck the box indicated titles, okay. Last but not least with this, what we want to do is we want to save these moving averages as a preset. So go back to indicators, click the drop down and then click save study template. And then we can simply save it as MA crossover. Okay, and click OK. So if you ever in the future find that some of your charts have messed up a little bit, you may have deleted them by accident, what you can then simply go and do, whichever chart you're on, whichever time frame you're on, drop down, click MA crossover. So let's try that. Let's just delete these. Delete, okay. Instead of setting it up from the ground up again and going through all of that mess, we can actually simply go to the preset MA crossover. And there we go. Moving averages are on there. So that's that saved. It's got our time frames, we've got our moving averages. We've gone into the delete tool and go in and using the undo button and the forward button. Next, what I'm going to then do is go onto the fib retracement. And for this, I'm just going to go ahead and set up this fib tool right here. So this is the standard Fibonacci tool. As you can see, it's all over the place. Right, so draw it onto your chart firstly, click it, and you can either go to settings on the toolbar or you can right click a format. So you can simply do this. Now, these are your Fibonacci settings. Right, the trend line, okay, is this finger cross here. I prefer not to have that on my screen. Right, the 0 level should be black, 1 should be black. Right, 0.236 I do not use. 0.786 I use. 0.382, so that's a 38.2. 0.5, that's 50%, that's 61.8. So I don't use this one, none of these. So we want to just keep these on for now. So we have one retracement level and we want it red. We want to make that red. Actually, with the 61.8, it's completely up to if you want to actually use a green one for that. That will be explained later on in the Fibonacci section. The 78.6, this one should be blue again, same as the moving averages. Now, before I go into the extension levels on the Fibonacci, right, we want to click percents. Right, we want background, we want to remove that horrible background. Labels, we want on the right-hand side. And last but not least, we want to add extension levels. So any of these, this top one, 0.27. And in front of that, we want to put the minus 0.27, minus 0.618. Click both of these boxes, and we want to make these orange. And then click OK, simple as that. So there your Fibonacci settings. So this is the fib. So we're going to do, just going to test that once more. That's the fib. So we have 38.2, 50%, 61.8, 78.6. There are retracement levels explained later on. And then we have minus 27, minus 61.8. So that is 127%. This is 161.8%. But instead of us fiddling around with the Fibonacci retracement and extension, I've basically programmed the extension levels into one tool. So over here, the only tool we're going to be using is fib retracement. That is it. Now, okay, so the fib's done, moving averages are done. I've explained the time frames. Next, we're going to go into the simple tools. So horizontal line should be black, thin black. Trend line, this should be black as well, simple as that. Horizontal ray, this one is more or less used for key levels of support on the daily time frame in the 4 hour. So I like to have this blue, and I like to just bump up the thickness a little bit, okay? The next tool on here is the arrow tool, which we will be using. So the arrow tool, I like that to be blue as well, same as the horizontal ray. And with this, I want to have the arrows at both ends, so arrowhead, arrowhead. Next tool is going to be parallel channel. We can use this as well. Now the parallel channel, I like to have the edges black, and I like to just maybe get, it's up to you if you want to keep the color in the middle or you want to fade that out a little bit. You can have a play around with that. And that's it. Is that it? Vertical line sometimes. Yeah, we can go ahead and use the vertical line if needs be with some strategies. And we can, again, keep that black. So we've got vertical line, horizontal ray, arrow tool, line tool, parallel channel tool. That is it. Remove all of that for a moment. When it comes down to annotations, this is the text tool. So we can text. Now, I recommend to have it black. It's up to you what size you want. 20, 24, depends on your eyesight, depends on your computer, depends on your screen resolution as well. No background. If you want a background, I won't really suggest having a background. However, a border can be pretty smart sometimes, so border black. And with this, you can just simply, you can have it bold if you wish. It's completely up to you. You can move it around afterwards. So we're going to be using that text tool. And we're going to be also using the call out. So with the call out, it's preset to this horrible setting. Right, so we want the text to be black. Bump this up to maybe 16. Background, I don't want a background on this. And the border, once more, we can just keep that black and click OK. So these are quite handy for some of the annotations we're going to be doing, especially for the journal. So that's that one. So text we're going to be using, call out we're going to be using, price label can come in quite handy as well. And once more, you can just go ahead and play with all of this. Text, black, etc., price label. So to be honest, that's all we're going to be really using on there. Arrows, you can have a little play around and be creative with all of this. It's highly customizable. I'm not going to spend all the time just going through each and every aspect of the platform, but it's up to you to get creative and have a little bit of a play around yourself. Now, risk reward, long and short, I'm going to be going through that later on. That's great. And then you have all of these little icons as well if you really want to get savvy with some of your work and, just make it fun and interesting overall. So that's that. Zoom tool, we can select an area and then it zooms in for us. It's quite handy, actually. I do forget myself to even use this zoom tool. Then we can zoom out. Across here, across the bottom, we do, in fact, have zoom out, zoom in. Okay, and this is going to take us back and forth. We can also use the trackpad on the mouse. Okay, the scrolly ball on the mouse, depends if you've got an Apple mouse or a standard mouse. That's quite handy as well. And if you ever find that your charts will not move around, so I can grab it and I can move it around, if you find, okay, it's only going left and right, just give this axis a nudge because it might just be stuck a little bit. Then you can move and free float the chart around. Okay, as you can see, for those who've had experience on MetaTrader, this right here, you can't even do this on MetaTrader. Okay, now you can see, all right, our data feed is nice and visually brilliant on the eyes. I'm looking at a Mac. I always recommend people trade from the Mac just because of the Retina screen, but we've got a crystal clear viewpoint of the market. It's very, very efficient and effective. And again, it just aids confusion. We don't need to layer all of the indicators on there and so forth. So this is the setup. This is the setup. Now, the other thing I need to go into, well, 2 more points, is that, right, so we've got the Euro USD. And as you can see up here, it says unnamed. Now, unnamed, brilliant. We always want to keep one chart unnamed. So when we go to load, we have our unnamed chart there. Now here, this is where you're going to be saving your individual currencies. So instead of overlaying each chart and so forth, because once we start to draw analysis on, we want to keep all of that analysis nice, set and individual, so we don't overwrite our work. And again, it's all about organization. So what we can do, once we put the Euro USD on there, we can go here and we can click Save As Euro USD. Okay, and a new tab will appear. As you can see here, there's the Euro USD. Now, if we go to load once more, you will now see Euro USD has been added to the rack, well, the forthcoming rack of our currency pairs. Now, if I go back to the other tab, the unnamed, I want Aussie dollar now. So I can click Aussie and Aussie dollar will load. Now I can go save as AUD USD. Okay, again, a new tab will appear. So individually, I have Aussie dollar and now Euro USD and an unnamed chart right here. Okay, and then once more. So this Aussie will always remain Aussie. We don't want to go ahead and click, okay, USD CAD, pound. It's going to get really, really messy. Keep Aussie, Aussie. If you ever want a new chart, always go to unnamed and then click whichever symbol you want. Euro JPY is here. Let's go to save as Euro JPY. All right. So that is how you build up your individual currencies, and we have the unnamed there. So we can always play about on unnamed, add new currencies to unnamed, so on and so forth. The other feature I'm going to go into in a moment, I'm just going to close these down. I'm just going to remain on the unnamed for a moment. So here it is. Here's the unnamed. Is that in some of the examples I'm going to go through this throughout the course and stuff, I'm probably going to be looking at split screens, not individual screens, but split screens in terms of charting screens on the TradingView platform in itself. So the other feature I'm going to go into is this. So this tab up here. Now we have a list, not a list, sorry. We have options as to how many charts. Oh, I can't do it on here, but basically how many charts we want to individualize. Okay. So what I need to do on this is obviously sign up for the trial and stuff. So I might have to just log into my other TradingView just to show you this feature, which I'm going to do now. But anyway, before I do that, we have boom, just one chart. Then we can go side by side. We can go on top of each other. We can have three horizontally, three in a vertical fashion, and so on. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to set that up in a moment. Last but not least, we have the calendar. We have the economic calendar on TradingView as well. And you can see all of the news for the day and week ahead. Over here, we have a chat box. I do recommend staying away from this. This is where people just talk all day and confuse each other and so forth. Private messages, people might message you and so on. But yeah, that's all of that. So there are all of the settings and features. Fibonacci, moving averages, time frames, everything. Okay, and how to save your charts and so on. So what I'm just going to quickly do, if you just bear with me, I am going to sign in to my other account quickly. Get rid of that. Okay, so once you've saved all of your charts, by the way, and you start to build analysis, this is what it's going to look like. You come back to chart, and then you're going, so me and Nat have got our own charts on here and so on. So these are all of the ones that I've saved, and I'm looking at DAX, pound yen, pound Aussie, and so on. Sometimes, there we go. That's what all of the charts are going to look like. So when we come onto this homepage, we can just go to, let's say, Euro JPY. Now, the setup I like is, well, I like different ones, but the one currently in front of us is the free screen setup. We can go to 2 screen setup if we really want to. Now with that, as you can see, I can move in and out of different setups. Some of them are very messy, some of them are not. So let me just go to the side-by-side setup as an example. Now over here, I'm on the 4-hour time frame. Over here, I'm on the 2-hour time frame. Now, if you do want your charts like this, instead of always going back just to get one chart back up on one screen, what you can simply do, if you go to the bottom right-hand corner, and you can click Maximize Chart. There you go. It's easy as that. Maximize, minimize. Maximize, minimize. But anyway, you can have a flick through all of that at your own pace. So I hope that helps. Try, please, to keep all of your currencies on individual tabs, save tabs. Make sure you don't overwrite your work, or it's all going to get really, really messy. And a key to success in trading in currencies is organization. So that is the TradingView lowdown. So thank you.